Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns championship match leaked. The best and worst of WWE SmackDown. John Cena facing Gunther in his final WWE match is a bad idea. Update on Donald Trump attending John Cena's retirement match. John Cena breaks silence on Vince McMahon's return rumors. Randy Orton won't be back in WWE until 2026. Bad news for Stephanie Vaquer. The WWE has major plans for Seth Rollins' return. A promising star is set for a huge push in 2026. Let's dive right in. The best and worst of WWE SmackDown. This week's WWE SmackDown witnessed the aftermath of Survivor Series War Games. The show was supposed to give answers to burning questions after the PLE while crafting the next chapter for the company. In an action-packed episode, WWE delivered an impactful event that featured stars like Cody Rhodes, Gunther, and Drew McIntyre. The show kicked off with a brawl between McIntyre and Rhodes that has seemingly laid down the foundation for their next match. Meanwhile, the main event was a stellar bout between Gunther and LA Knight, where the ring general emerged victorious. The show has officially laid down the card for WWE Saturday Night's main event, which will emanate next week. Let's take a look at the best and worst of this week's episode of SmackDown. Number 1. The best. Rhea Ripley is back with Damian Priest. Damian Priest has been feuding with Aleister Black and Zelina Vega on WWE SmackDown for the past month. The eerie couple has created problems for the Punisher, and he seems to be outnumbered by the two. Therefore, last night, Priest called a backup in the form of his best friend, Rhea Ripley, to take on Vega and Black in a mixed tag team match next week on WWE SmackDown. Ripley has been involved in the storyline with the Kabuki Warriors on Raw for months. She needed a fresh direction in the company. Meanwhile, Priest and Black's story seemed to be struggling to create an impact. Ripley's involvement could help this feud get the much-deserved limelight. Therefore, it was the right decision at this point to reunite the Terror Twins to give the fans some fresh TV product. Number 2. The worst. Jade Cargill squashes a former champion in under 2 minutes. WWE wants to present Jade Cargill as a dominant force as champion, but the method with which they presented that thus far has come at the expense of a once-respected former NXT champion. Since the Storm is trying to assert her dominance over everyone on the roster, she faced Alba Fire on SmackDown. Fans may have missed it because Cargill squashed the former NXT UK Women's Champion in under 2 minutes. BFAB lasted longer, but hasn't done nearly as much in the industry as Fire. It felt like blatant disrespect to the Scottish star. The match could have been longer with the same result, but losing in under 2 minutes was a massive misstep. Number 3. The best. Spotlight on Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes faced Ilya Dragunov this week for the United States Championship. The two stars delivered an amazing performance, reminding fans of their incredible chemistry. However, the key highlight of the match was Hayes' valiant efforts to dethrone Dragunov. Triple H has been giving the former NXT champion big opportunities to shine for the past few weeks with his matches against Bronson Reed and Gunther. Last night's match was yet another showing of Hayes' talent in the ring. It was the right decision to keep the 31-year-old star's momentum burning as he marches further in the company. Such impactful performances would keep him active in the eyes of the WWE Universe, helping him to be prepared for a huge moment down the line. Number 4. The worst. Pacing issues after the opening contest. Dragunov retained the U.S. title against Hayes in the opening contest of SmackDown. The second offering was Bliss versus Sane, but the pacing wasted nearly 15 minutes with promotional material before the bell rang. A rundown of the Last Time Is Now tournament was shown, followed by an interview with LA Knight. Sane then made her entrance, but had to wait through another John Cena video segment and a recap of the chaos from War Games and Raw. If they wanted to have a non-wrestling segment after the first match, then the MFTS/Wyatt 6 issue could have followed the opening contest. Even having just the Knight interview would have been fine, so as not to go so long without action. Number 5. The best. New challengers for the women's tag team titles. The women's tag team championship picture has been revolving around the Kabuki Warriors, Sky and Rhea Ripley, and Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss as of late. However, last night on WWE SmackDown, Nia Jax and Lash Legend stormed the ring to take down the champions. The Wicked duo made their intentions clear that they are coming for the titles in the upcoming weeks. It was the right decision as WWE needs some formidable heels in the women's tag division. Besides, Jax and Legend pose a serious threat to the Kabuki Warriors' title reign. Moreover, such an angle creates an impressive multi-tag team situation in the title picture. It gives Triple H a great stage to experiment with the women's tag team scene in WWE with interesting matchup rotations. Number 6. The worst. Only 3 competitive matches on SmackDown. The best strategy for a 2-hour show is to have 4 or 5 matches per episode, and only 4 if the matches are longer or more important. This episode had 4 bouts. With Cargill's 2-minute squash, it felt more like 3. Dragunov defeated Hayes, and Bliss bested Sane. Gunther beat Knight in a fantastic match to end the Last Time Is Now tournament. WWE went with a promo/story-heavy episode after doing the same leading up to Survivor Series. The other women's match should have featured stars different from those who competed at War Games, especially since the faces won again. Julia simply exists, and Chelsea Green showed up for 2 minutes. Rhea Ripley, a Raw star, will back up Damian Priest against Aleister Black and Zelina next week on SmackDown. Number 7. The best. Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre brawled out on WWE SmackDown. The show kicked off with an intense brawl between Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. The two stars made it clear that they have no love lost and they want to tear each other apart. McIntyre and Rhodes have been feuding for the past 2 months. Therefore, it was a much-needed intensity in their rivalry. Besides, the American Nightmare then delivered a passionate promo that further developed his story with the Scottish Warrior. It seems there are a few challengers for the prodigal son on WWE SmackDown. Therefore, to make things interesting between him and McIntyre, WWE had to take an extra mile. Additionally, Cody Rhodes showcased a much more aggressive side of his character last night. It was a shift that felt necessary to add depth to his persona following that loss to the Vision in the War Games match. John Cena facing Gunther in his final WWE match is a bad idea. There are a few reasons why Cena vs. Gunther is a bad idea for the special event, especially since it's the franchise player's last match. Let's look at 3 reasons why having the veteran face Gunther in his final WWE match is a bad idea. A few months ago, Gunther faced Goldberg and defeated the iconic star in his retirement match. After moving to the main roster, the Ring General was widely regarded as a champion and had an incredible Intercontinental and World Heavyweight title reign. Considering all this, the Ring General doesn't need to be the final opponent for the last real champion. This makes it a bad idea to witness a match between them at Saturday night's main event. For a long time, the WWE Universe has predicted that Gunther would face John Cena in his final showdown, even though there is a high belief that the former Imperium leader will defeat him at the special show. Now, with the former world champion defeating LA Knight on SmackDown and officially becoming Cena's last opponent, it's eventually downhill excitement. Everyone already knew Gunther would be Cena's last challenger, which makes this more predictable and less exciting to watch, making it a bad idea. Gunther is already a 38-year-old star, and if WWE is planning a torch-passing moment for the Ring General, it doesn't make sense. A torch-passing moment usually benefits a star who is an underdog or receives less audience recognition. The Raw star is already very popular among fans and has been involved in many high-profile matches. Because of this, the idea of a torch passing makes little sense right now, which is why Gunther vs. Cena is a bad idea for WWE Saturday night's main event. Now, it remains to be seen what plans Triple H has in store for the stars at the upcoming special event. The victory of Gunther overnight is getting mixed reactions on the internet, and things may explode if Gunther defeats Cena in his final match. Update on Donald Trump attending John Cena's retirement match. There has been an update regarding U.S. President Donald Trump, and if he plans on attending John Cena's WWE retirement match. The Senation leader will be retiring from in-ring competition at Saturday night's main event next weekend in Washington, D.C. According to a new report from Fightful Select, a source in WWE told the publication that they would be surprised if Trump attended the event on December 13th. However, the source also made it known that anything was possible by saying, "Who F knows?" to Fightful when asked if Trump would be at SNME. LA Knight and Gunther will be battling in the finals of the Last Time Is Now tournament tonight on WWE SmackDown. The winner of the tournament will go on to face John Cena in his retirement match next weekend at Saturday night's main event. Cena captured the Intercontinental Championship last month for the first time in his career by beating Dominic Mysterio on Raw. However, Dirty Dom won it back at Survivor Series 2025 after Liv Morgan made her surprise return and hit Cena with a low blow. Mysterio capitalized on the interference and hit a frog splash to become the Intercontinental Champion once again. Logan Paul recently spoke highly of John Cena as a person. The Maverick is currently aligned with the Vision on Raw and was a part of the winning team in this year's Men's War Games match at Survivor Series. Speaking on his Impulsive podcast, the former United States champion praised Cena and claimed that the 48-year-old was a perfect human being. Paul added that the legend always rejects his compliments. Cena defeated Paul earlier this year at Clash in Paris 2025. I do want to say one more thing about John Cena, please. First off, he's incredible. He's actually a perfect human being. It's shocking. He's one of those people I meet and I'm just like, dang. He would deny that 100%. He would deny it. He's contrarian when I compliment him and he says something really wise after I'm like, this is why you're perfect, Logan said. It will be interesting to see if the Never Seen 17 can win his retirement match next weekend at WWE Saturday night's main event. John Cena breaks silence on Vince McMahon's return rumors. John Cena recently addressed rumors about Vince McMahon possibly returning to the company. The star has a close relationship with the former WWE boss. John Cena has gone on record several times to state that he owes a lot of his success to Vince McMahon. He felt the veteran promoter gave him the chance to be the face of the company, and he ran with it. Even after McMahon moved away from the company, the franchise player has retained his close ties with his former boss. During a recent episode of The Joe Rogan Experience, John Cena addressed possible claims of McMahon still having a say in WWE. He disclosed that the former boss was out. John noted that with time, things may change and he might be welcomed back, but those decisions will likely be made by the higher-ups in TKO. The 17-time world champion noted that things were very sensitive at the moment, and it was hard to comment on whether Vince would ever show up on WWE TV again. "He's out," Cena said. "I don't know. Again, we were talking about why is your last event in this place? Man, I don't choose the events. All that stuff is so far above me, but I know now he's out. In my eyes, I'd like to think that time heals everything. I believe in forgiveness, and I also believe in looking in the body of work. I also noticed that there are also a lot of fragile stuff going on in there. I don't know, man. I don't know." During the conversation, John Cena detailed that Vince McMahon would love to be on the podcast. He mentioned that Vince was an interesting personality, and it would be interesting to hear his story on the platform. Cena encouraged Joe Rogan to pull some strings and try to get McMahon on the show. Man, he would be great. Whatever magic you have out there, and you have a lot of gravity. Are you kidding me? I think he would love it. I don't know when the right time is, but man, don't miss out on that opportunity. At least, send it out to the universe. Vince, if you're listening, I think this experience will be a great one for you. It will be interesting to see if Vince McMahon shows up on the Joe Rogan Experience anytime soon. Randy Orton won't be back in WWE until 2026. Randy Orton has been absent from WWE for the past few months. The former WWE champion was advertised to appear on this week's edition of SmackDown. However, there were no signs of the Apex Predator on the show. It leaves the WWE Universe wondering whether Orton will make his return before the year ends. Many fans were anticipating a feud between the Viper and Cody Rhodes. However, WWE has been pushing that for a long time. Besides, there have been no major reports about Randy Orton's comeback in the coming weeks. Therefore, for now, it's safe to assume that the Legend Killer might not return until 2026. With that in mind, let's take a look at 4 signs that suggest this could be the case. Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre were involved in a massive brawl on SmackDown last night. It suggested that WWE has plans to continue the feud between the two stars for the rest of the month. Therefore, if that is the case, Orton's comeback wouldn't make much sense if it involved any storyline other than one with the American Nightmare. WWE has already been teasing that the Apex Predator wants the undisputed WWE Championship. It has even become a running joke among fans, given the company's reluctance to pull the trigger on this feud. Besides, it could be pretty disastrous if WWE brings back the Legend Killer to once again make him a side character in Rhodes' storyline. December has no major PLE in WWE. The company only has an episode of Saturday Night's Main Event this month, with no special episodes advertised for SmackDown and Raw. Therefore, Triple H usually backs away from kicking off major storylines in the company this month. Randy Orton's comeback holds significant value for WWE. As a result, the company cannot afford to bring him back in a typically quieter period. There are chances that WWE would try to build an exciting story around the Apex Predator once he returns to the scene. It is pretty unlikely to do that in the month of December. Instead, WWE tends to focus on kicking off the new year with a bang on its special episodes in the first week of January. WWE has been teasing Randy Orton's heel turn for a long time. With that said, his face turn has not made any significant impact in the company for a while. The Viper has failed to win every major match for the past year. Therefore, it has become an impression among the fans that things will get better for the Apex Predator only when he turns heel. Considering the fact that WWE has always refrained from pulling the trigger on Orton's heel turn could mean that Triple H is saving it for a big moment down the line. Road to WrestleMania is the hottest period for the Stamford-based promotion. Therefore, such a major angle taking place during that time would make perfect sense. Hence, WWE is unlikely to turn Randy Orton heel before this year ends. Royal Rumble is the next big PLE for WWE. It is set to take place in Saudi Arabia for the first time in history at the end of January. It makes it more than 7 weeks away as of now. Therefore, there is a potential that WWE could be saving the Viper's comeback for the build towards Rumble PLE. If that is the plan, then bringing back the Legend Killer now could result in him getting lost in the shuffle. Instead, WWE can focus on building other stars in the mid-card scene. Besides, Randy Orton's Royal Rumble surprise return could be much more impactful than a comeback on a random episode of Raw or SmackDown. Therefore, there are chances that Randy Orton could be back either during the build for Rumble or at the PLE itself. Bad news for Stephanie Vaquer. There's some bad news for WWE Women's World Champion Stephanie Vaquer. Although she successfully defended her title against Nikki Bella at Survivor Series War Games, the match overall wasn't impressive for the critics. It was a heel Nikki Bella going against Stephanie Vaquer in what many expected to be a nail-biting contest. However, it turned out to be a squash match, with Stephanie Vaquer nearly dominating the entire match. Besides that, there were several awkward moments in the match too. In the end, the Dark Angel pinned Nikki Bella with a Devil's Kiss and corkscrew moonsault. Wrestling journalist Dave Meltzer, in his latest edition of Wrestling Observer newsletter, gave the match 1.25 stars and not even 1 full star to the match. This was the lowest rated match of the night from Meltzer. He had earlier criticized the match in his edition of Wrestling Observer Radio after Survivor Series War Games. Meltzer criticized Nikki Bella's booking by WWE, saying that it blew off the Hall of Famer. The way that it was done, it was a clean finish, but it was a clean finish in the way that kind of blew off Nikki Bella. I mean, she's got this legendary status thing. It just felt like I know she's not going anywhere. Like there's no plans for her to go anywhere. But if I watched this not knowing that, I would think, oh, she's going home now. That's how it came off. It came off like the legend came back, she had her little run, and now she's going home. That's just how clean, not clean but clear cut. They just didn't give her anything. It was just like, yeah, just like kind of nothing. It was expected that Nikki Bella would retire from in-ring competition after this loss. However, in a post-match bite, she said it wasn't the last of Nikki Bella that the fans saw. It remains to be seen if the two-time Diva champion would once again go after Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's World Championship. There were a few awkward moments during the match between Stephanie and Nikki Bella, and one big botch seemingly left the Chilean superstar angry. Nikki Bella didn't go down on her knees during Stephanie's second Devil's Kiss inside the ring. That botch seemingly irked Stephanie, and she sported an angry look at the Hall of Famer after performing it. She then wrapped up the match with a corkscrew moonsault and pinned Nikki to retain her title. It remains to be seen if the Dark Angel would be interested in working with Nikki once again for a WWE PLE event. The WWE has major plans for Seth Rollins' return. WWE reportedly has major plans for Seth Rollins' return from injury. Rollins suffered an injury during his victory over Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel 2025 and was written off television earlier this year. According to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Seth Rollins is pushing to compete at WrestleMania 42 next year in Las Vegas, Nevada. There is a possibility that Rollins could be cleared in time for the show of shows, but it is not a guarantee that he will be able to compete. The report also noted that Rollins could be in line to battle Braun Breaker at WrestleMania if he is able to return to the ring on time. Rollins was the leader of the Vision faction alongside Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed earlier this year. However, the faction betrayed him with a brutal attack as a way to write him off television as he recovered from injury. The veteran had to relinquish the World Heavyweight Championship as well, and CM Punk won the vacant title last month at Saturday night's main event by defeating Jey Uso. WWE Raw star Seth Rollins recently shared an update on his recovery from his shoulder injury. Speaking on The Rich Eisen Show, the 39-year-old disclosed that he recently got his brace taken off and is on track with his recovery. Rollins added that it felt good to walk around like a regular person as well. We're on track. Yeah, I got the brace off like last week, middle of last week. So, it was nice. It's nice to walk around like a regular person. I know there's a lot of skepticism in your question, TJ, but you can consult my surgeon. I'm feeling all right. It's nice to be able to get around without the brace. I'll say that. We're on track, Rollins said. Braun Breaker pinned World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk during the men's War Games match this past Saturday night at WWE Survivor Series 2025. Only time will tell what WWE has planned for Seth Rollins when he returns from injury down the line. A promising star is set for a huge push in 2026. It could be time for a young WWE star to get a massive push in 2026. More details have now arrived exclusively for Sportskeeda Wrestling. Grayson Waller has been a steady part of the New Day over the last year. While never officially becoming a member, the young WWE star has slowly integrated himself into the group and stood out from the crowd thanks to his work with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. This author was informed that Grayson Waller was likely due for a massive push from WWE and that his work with the New Day has earned him a lot of praise backstage. Both Kingston and Woods like him as well, which, given their status in the company, has earned him more brownie points. While this may not happen, it looks like 2026 will be a huge year for Waller as well, if things go right for the young star. Triple H will need to be the one to pull the trigger on the storyline. Another name getting a big push next year is likely Grayson Waller. This one is not as decided, but everyone is really happy with how he has fit himself into the New Day. Kofi and Xavier like him. Good feelings all around there. But this one is just a chance. While it had appeared earlier that Grayson Waller and Austin Theory were headed for a huge storyline together, it didn't work out. Theory was injured, and the rivalry and breakup between the two stars that had been set up over the course of them as a tag team did not come to anything. The two stars had an off-camera breakup that really brought their storyline to an end without resolving anything. Ever since then, he has been hanging out with the New Day, while it appears that his former partner is finally returning to the ring after a long time as the mysterious masked man who appeared at Survivor Series War Games. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns championship match leaked. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes are among the most popular performers on the WWE roster. The two Raw stars have teamed up twice since their WrestleMania 40 clash. According to Dave Meltzer, WWE fans could get to watch Reigns and Rhodes wrestle against each other in a championship match. In the most recent edition of Wrestling Observer newsletter, the popular journalist reported that the highly anticipated clash is in the Stamford-based promotion's plans going forward. However, he added that the bout might not necessarily take place at the Showcase of the Immortals. It's been confirmed to us that a Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns match for the WWE title is in the plans, although not necessarily at WrestleMania, Meltzer wrote. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns teamed up and joined forces with the Usos and CM Punk for the men's War Games match. Unfortunately, the babyfaces lost the contest after a mysterious attacker entered the steel structure and took out the Second City Saint. Interestingly, the OTC and the American Nightmare dropped multiple teases of a potential title match in the future throughout the build and at WWE Survivor Series War Games itself. Paul Heyman betrayed Roman Reigns and CM Punk at WrestleMania 41 to join forces with Seth Rollins and form The Vision. The former Wiseman has since taken frequent digs at the OTC during shows and interviews. During a recent appearance on ESPN's First Take, Paul Heyman was asked to share the reason behind Reigns hating on him. Staying true to his on-screen heel persona, the Oracle claimed that the former undisputed WWE Universal Champion was jealous and envious of him. It's just a matter of jealousy. When you walk around life as the GOAT, when you walk around life as the one man on the planet that Stephen A. Smith wishes he could be, even the tribal chief Roman Reigns will be jealous and envious of you, Heyman said. The OTC did not show up on the Monday Night Raw following the WWE Survivor Series War Games. It will be intriguing to see what's next for the 40-year-old Samoan.